Greenleaf. Greenleaf. Now, look, I'm a little bit torn because the episode blew me away. Alright? And we're going to get to that. Blew me away. I mean, when it got to the end of the episode, I was like this for... I probably sat like that for a good 30 seconds. Because I was like, what? But I'm a little torn because I feel like Greenleaf got a little touch. Just a little touch of that Empire-itis. And what I mean by that is a couple of these storylines, they tied up a little too easy for me. But what I believe is that what we think is over ain't over. Okay? So it's gonna make sense. Let's talk about it. So this episode picks up where the last one left off, where Grace and Lady Mae walks off. You remember she was walking off from Grace. Grace said, you know, it's lying on my father. Lady Mae was like, I don't know, and was walking out the church. So Grace went after her and was like, whoa. What the hell kind of answer is that? It's lying on my father. Lady Mae said, I done told you, I don't know. Grace was like, well, damn. So Lady Mae said, look, what you going to do with that information? Are you going to tell it? Look, if you going to tell it, tell it. Tell it now. Tell it now before I go out here tomorrow and embarrass myself. Tell it now so that whatever, like, just tell it so I know what's coming. Yell it down the halls of the church. Grace said, Mama, you know I ain't about to do that. You know that's not even me. She said, well, then I don't ever want to talk about this again. And left. That Lady Mae is a cold bitch. I swear she is. She cold as ice. She should have been an alpha. As cold as ice. Just ice, baby. Anyway. So then we go over to Jacob and Carissa. Jacob is trying to call Tasha. Why? I don't know. Because basically I already told him, you can't get to her unless you go through me. And I'm done with your ass. So him and Carissa get to arguing. And Carissa says, look, you act like you care more about her than about us, about saving us. And Jacob is like, Carissa, no. Tasha's the only thing that's going to save our ass. So right now, I do care about her, but I care about finding her so that she can talk to the police or the FBI so we can get this shit straightened out. Like right now, I understand you mad and you jealous and all of that, but that ain't what this is about right now. This is about saving all of us. So Carissa was like, well, ever since you came home last night, you just been so antsy, and you didn't even give me a hug and tell me that everything is going to be okay. Jacob was like, what? Oh, what? Now, Carissa's on one. I'm not saying she shouldn't be, but she is. She on one. So, then we jump back over to Grace. Grace asked, oh boy, what's his name? Y'all know who I'm talking about. Her half brother said, look, would you be interested in doing a blood test so we'll know for sure who's who and what's what? And he said sure. He said, you know, let's do it. She said, you haven't told his boyfriend yet. He said, no, I haven't told him yet. She said, good, because, you know, if you tell him, then it's going to get to charity, and then this is going to be a whole nother mess. And right now, we can't, we just don't, we want to figure out what's going on first before we, you know, and just figure out how this whole thing works out, right? So he's like, cool, let's go take the blood test. So, then let's go on over to, the Gangsters. Not the Gangsters. I think I picked it up from Rocks. Tasha. Yeah, Basically, the Gangsters. Tasha, Basie, and Rochelle. They over to the house. Basie said, look, we need to get the hell up out of here. We need to pack. We need to go. And Rochelle was like, what you talking about? Why we in a rush? She said, because Jacob is going to keep trying to, because he see that Jacob is blowing his phone up. Jacob is going to keep trying to get in touch with his side piece. And in the meantime and in between time, we need to roll out of here because she is the only thing that can link all of this together. Now, what this told me was that Basie really loves Tasha. Because if he was as ruthless and as cold as I really thought he was, like I said, she would have been dead. Because she is absolutely the only thing that can link all of them together. So why in the world would they keep her alive? Like, that was the only thing. But I think between the two of them and their arrogance and his love, they thought they could control her, and they thought that they had everything under control. He asked, where's the money? Where's the money? Rochelle gives him a suitcase full of money. Tasha talking about something. Where this money come from? Is that the money you stole? Rochelle was like, shut up. You don't need to know nothing about nothing. You just go pack our damn bag and let's go. Tasha talking about something. I ain't going nowhere. Really? Did you really think you had any type of whole card? They were like, girl, if you don't go pack a damn bag, Rochelle said, get your ass back there. Pack a bag. So, basically said, look, meet me at the hotel. Meet me at the spot down by the racetrack. You know where the damn racetrack is. Meet me at the motel by the racetrack. He leaves them there. And he left them with the money, which I thought was interesting because I was surprised. Because he talking about, Rochelle was like, now that's the money to pay off the bookies, the loan sharks. He said, and then what we going to live off of when we get to Mexico. So he never had any intention of paying nobody off. He ready to take that money and he going to blow it again because he already on his way to the racetrack. So when he left the money, I thought that was interesting that he left the money. So he left them there, Tasha and Rochelle. And he get them to pack, they're supposed to pack up a bag or whatever. So next thing you know, we see Rochelle Tasha getting in the car. Rochelle gets a phone call from Lulu, the lady that killed her husband. And she said, look, Rochelle, my kids, they're calling me from foster care. I got the address. I'm going to go get them because it's nothing good is happening with them in foster care, and I got to go save them. Rochelle said, you cannot do that. You can't do anything until after the trial. She said, I can't. My kids are not safe. I can't leave them there. I need to go get my kids. She said, Rochelle was like, look, you promised me you weren't going to do anything stupid. You can't do it. She said, Rochelle, I need it. I need some money. I need to get my kids out of here. I'm not going to go through with the trial. I just got to go. She said, and I can't call Grace because she doesn't understand. You understand. So Rochelle was like, so at first when I'm looking at this, I said, this dumb. What's she going to do that for? And, of course, now Rochelle is torn. Because Rochelle really wants to help this woman. She really does. But she also knows she got to get her ass the hell out of town. So she got Tasha with her. So you see Rochelle trying to figure out what she going to do. So then we cut back over to Jacob. No. Well, anyway, Jacob goes over to the house. He gets to the house and they're not there. But he can tell that they left in a hurry. Like, it wasn't like they left the house and they coming back. They just went to the grocery store. He calls up Gigi and he says, look, they are gone and I don't see no sign. Like, it doesn't look like they're going to come back. So Gigi was like, oh man, all right, well look, we'll figure something out. They're trying to plan it out or whatever. Zora and Isaiah. I'm going to go on and finish Zora and Isaiah up because this is one of those storylines that I thought was a little anticlimactic. But I'm not quite sure it's as over as we think it is. But it was a little anticlimactic. So Zora is helping old boy put together his tour. He's getting ready to go on tour, and she's putting together, doing video footage for him, putting video clips together that'll play. You go to concerts and they have like an intro and they play like a video montage before the performer comes out. So Zora put that together for him, and he's like not even paying attention to her. She said, look, I shouldn't care about your tour more than you care about your tour. So he said, okay, fine, show it to me. So he shows it to her. He's like, sure, that's fine, that's great. He was like, you need to get to packing my stuff. She was like, I'm packing your clothes now? He said, well, you can just lay out a few things for me. So Zora says, look, I want a job. No, she said, I want a title. He said, you got a title. You're my girl. She said, no. I want a paid job with everything that I'm doing around here, doing video footage, I'm editing, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, like all this stuff that I'm doing. I need a job. Your label will pay me. Go tell them that you won't put me on payroll. Your assistant, whatever. He said, what job you want? She was like, I'll be your videographer. I'll videotape your tour. But, and I can edit or whatever. But you don't want me to go to Spelman. You don't want me to do anything for myself. So I need a job. You need to be paying me. He talking about something. All right, then, well, I'll talk to the label. In the meantime, get to packing my clothes. Ain't that part of your job description now? Honey, I said, oh, that. So when that happened, I said, well, at least Zora got a little bit of sense that she realizes now that she needs to demand a few things. I'm like, okay, she got a little bit of sense right now. She working with a little something. So then, we see Jacob and well, no, I'm just gonna knock this out. The deaconess, the head of the deacon board, she done brought that pastor in, got him up at Calvary to show him a few things, because she trying to get him to take over the church, and him and Bishop have a few words. You can tell they, little slide comments or whatever. But Bishop is on notice that she is doing more than talk. Like, she really trying to get this dude to come in and take over this church. So we cut to Jacob and Gigi. Jacob and Gigi, they on a stakeout. They talking. And Jacob is talking to Gigi about the whole thing that went down with Tasha and how he kissed her or whatever. And Gigi is like, what is wrong with you? Like, when are you going to grow up? He was like, look, it was just a kiss. And I just let you know how men think. He was like, he said it wasn't even a real kiss. It was like a half a kiss. Fool, ain't no half a kiss. You kissed that woman. And he was saying how, he said, but I love Carissa. He was like, I can't imagine anybody loving, he said, when I think about her sleeping at night, I can't think anybody else that would watch her at night like I do. Basically, I can't think of my life without her, and vice versa. And I realized that's where I want to be. So he asked Gigi about her relationship, and she was like, well, that's pretty much dead in the water. Like, that ain't really good at all. So while they're talking, here come Rochelle pulling up with Tasha in the car. They were staking out Lulu's house, Leanne, whatever the chick name is. Come to find out, it was all a setup. Gigi got her to call Rochelle to get them to come over there. So they walk up. So of course, so Jacob and them come busting up in the door. Rochelle was like, "What? Oh, this was all a setup." So she cuss out old girl. You ain't nothing but just a murdering ass bitch. And she said, "Tasha, you bring your ass." Tasha said, "I'm not going with y'all." She said, "Tasha, we're your family. They not your family. Everything we've done for you." And she said, Basie pulled you out the gutter. She said, "I pulled myself out the gutter. Me and God." She said, "You little selfish little." I mean, her face was all contorted. I mean, you could tell she didn't know what to do with herself. So then she, then she turns to Gigi. And she calls Gigi. She said, "You old whore." Gigi said, "A whore?" She said, "I know what happened in Arizona." I said, "Oh. What happened in Arizona?" Now, something happened because Gigi, her face said it. Her face was like, oh, shit. So something did happen in Arizona. Now, what happened? I don't know. And, of course, we're going to leave that. They left that one hanging. So that there's a storyline for next season. And that's the way they're going to bring Miss Rochelle back if they choose to, right? Because she got some good on the Gigi. So they end up taking Tasha up out of there. They get her to the FBI, and she promised that she going to tell everything. And Gigi talks to Lulu and tells her, she said, "Look, I appreciate what you did for me." She said, "But she said, you're going to tell the FBI I helped, right?" She said, "I absolutely am. And when you go up in the court and your lawyers lets them know the part that you played in all of this, that'll really help your case." She said, "I'm dedicated to helping you. I appreciate what you did for me." So then Jacob and Tasha have a conversation. Jacob gives her the old, "I'm married, right? I ain't leaving my wife, right? We good, right? You still gonna tell the FBI I ain't steal that money, though, right?" And of course Tasha's like, "All right, yeah, like I ain't think you was gonna leave your wife. Like, okay." Now that's another storyline that I'm not really crazy about how easily they tied that up. Because it was like Tasha went to the FBI and that was it. Next thing you know, no, I'll get there. So let me finish up. Well, I guess I'm almost finished. I'm not gonna quite finish her up. But next thing you know, we see Zora. She got her bag packed. They getting ready to leave for tour. Zora said, "Nah, I'm gone." He said, "Yeah, we both getting ready to go." She said, No. I'm going home. I'm going to Memphis." She said, "I done put up with the hoes. I done put up with the disrespect. I done put up with all of that. But you know what? You don't need me. You don't need me." He said, "Well, I didn't ask you to do all that stuff." She said, "I was bored." "Oh, so now I'm boring?" She was like, "Look." He said, "Well, you're boring too, if you know what I mean." I was like, okay, so he trying to say she ain't no good in bed. Okay, whatever. So then he starts like talking about like how he don't need her anyway and go ahead then or whatever. Because I guess in his mind, he didn't think her ass was going to go nowhere. So she was like, all right. She got her bag. She ready to go to the door. So he going to stop at the door and stop her from going out. She was like, "Get out my way." He was like, or else. So you know what he did, right? He just slapped her ass around. He got her on the counter like he choking her or whatever. She gets away from him, and she did the smartest thing her ass could do. She turned on her damn phone and told my son, we are on live right now. So I'm gonna walk out this door, and you not gonna stop me. That was the smartest thing her ass could have done. That's why I said it was a little anticlimactic. I mean, I don't know what else I thought could happen, but I don't know. I mean, I'm glad they didn't show her like really getting beat up and really going down, down, down. But I don't know. I just expected a little bit more. But anyway, but she got her ass out of there, and Isaiah got what was coming. Because she kind of got him a little bit. I think she smacked him or punched him or something. She got him a little bit before she left. So Bishop goes to Lady Mae. She's getting her sermon ready for the next day. She said, Bishop, what you want? I ain't got time for you right now. He said, well, I just want to let you know that Tasha Skanks is talking to the FBI right now and everything's being cleared up. She said, oh, well, I know you feel so much better. He said, yeah. He said, well, we got another problem on the horizon. That old pastor was up in here from the other church, and them deacons are really, really trying to bring them in. And she was like, oh. He said, you're not going to get this church. Like, let it go. Like, this is my church. He said, after tomorrow, you are gone. She said, I tell you what, James. After tomorrow, you make an announcement that we will be co-pastors. He said, no! We're not co-pastoring shit. You are leaving. This is my church. So, he says to her, he said, you know what? He said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to lay out all your sins. Go ahead. Speak them. Be honest. Lay out your sins. And then you compare your sins to my sins. And you tell me if what I did is any worse than what you've done. Now, mind you, it's a part of me that kind of thinks that he knows what's going on, because the stuff that he's talking about is just crazy. Not crazy. I shouldn't use the word crazy, but he's on some stuff, right? Because when they were talking to the lawyers earlier, the lawyers were trying to tell him, look, you going to jail if you don't come up with something. Like, they try to tell him to act senile, act like he don't remember he did it and all of that stuff. He said, I'm not going to jail. He said, I know you might not believe in this, but I have God showed me. God showed me my last days, and they were not in a prison. Gigi gonna ask him, well, what were they? He said, do you believe in visions? She said, I don't know. He said, then I can't tell you because you wouldn't believe me anyway. I said, well, you better preach it. You better preach it. But, he left Lady Mae hanging, honey. And so now we are finally here. The day has come. It is a day with Lady Mae, honey. And we started off with, we got a liturgical dance. We got Patty LaBelle and Charity singing a duet. Honey, it was beautiful. It was nice. Lady Mae descends from the top of the choir stand, honey, and she comes down and she got on her nice little outfit and her hair is perfectly coiffed, honey, face beat, and she starts preaching. Honey, she is preaching. Do you hear me? Lady Mae is preaching, and she's talking about love, and she does this whole thing about love, right? Now, Gigi gets a text from the clinic with the results from the blood test. She steps out of the sanctuary to call Kevin to say, look, I got the test results. What you want to do? He said, I'll come down to the church. He said, have you looked at them yet? She said, no, I'll wait for you. So Kevin's on his way down to the church. Then like the last few minutes of the episode, you cutting around to all these different scenes. So then we see Sophia went to go pick up Zora, right? Zora says, thanks for coming to get me. Sophia says, no problem. Where we going? So, where you going to go now, Zora? Now, we'll get to Zora. And we'll get to that. So, while Gigi is out in the vestibule waiting for Kevin to get there, her and Bishop walks up on her. And this thing tore me up. This scene about tore me up, y'all. It was so prophetic, but also just so real. Bishop says to Gigi, he says, I want to thank you. She said, for what, Daddy? He said, for loving me. He said, I've been a fool. I've been a fool. And I put this whole family in jeopardy. But you never stop loving me. You never stop believing in me. He said, and for that, I love you. He said, there's something about you, Gigi. There's a light in you that you never, ever, ever, you never stop believing in the good in me. And he's crying and she's crying, and they just have this really this deep moment, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And he's landed on thick about how much he loves her and how wonderful of a daughter she's been, and she's always been a great daughter. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, does he know? Does he know? But now while this is going on, Lady May's preaching. Now, Lady May was preaching about, and it was actually a good message she was preaching on, talking about when she was a little girl and the men. She kept talking about how these men were up there preaching fire and brimstone. But I know that God is love, and what we're going to do is we're going to change it from fire and brimstone to love. And it was, she's doing it. She's doing her thing now. I ain't going to lie. Lady May doing her thing. But then she switches it up a little bit, right? Because Gigi and Kevin, it's not Kevin, I'm sorry, Kevin is the boyfriend. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Gigi and old boy, they looked at the results. Because at first Gigi was hesitant about it, and he said, look, we don't have to know. We can leave things the way they are. We don't have to know. Gigi said, I'd be a hypocrite. Because I'm always telling everybody they need to face their truth. And I would be a hypocrite if I didn't face this. And so you see her open up the results, but we don't know what the results are. Next thing you know, we see Gigi and him coming into the sanctuary while Lady May is preaching. And she sees them come in, and it's almost like a light goes off, and she starts preaching about truth and telling your truth. And the truth will set you free. And you have to be redeemed and stay. I said, well, ain't this the damn pot calling the kettle black? She's sitting here preaching on truth and telling your truth and being honest and cleansing in the blood of truth. And here we go with Gigi up at the top of the. I said, okay. Now while all of this is going on, now we flipping back over to Carissa and Jacob. Carissa and Jacob. Jacob says, Carissa, let me talk to you. He says, I love you so much. Jacob just don't know how to say shit. Because he going to say, I was talking to Gigi yesterday and I realized that I love you. Carissa said, really? You realized it? Yesterday. That's not how you say that, Jacob. What you say is, I realized yesterday that I don't want to do anything to jeopardize losing you. You knew you loved her. But you thought that you probably thought you were no longer in love with her. And what you realized was that you were still in love with her. But you should have worded it differently, because if that were me, that wouldn't impress me either. We've been married for 20 years and you realized yesterday that you love me? Oh, all right then. Carissa said, look, I can't keep doing this, Jacob. She said, I cannot. I can't live like this. I can't keep questioning myself. Why am I not enough? Why am I not good enough? Why does he keep doing this to me? And of course, Jacob is like, you are good enough. You are enough for me. What are you I love you. She said, Jacob, I'm not going to do this anymore. She said, I want a divorce. And just as she said, I want a divorce, who come walking through the door is Miss Zora. And of course, Jacob goes over and hugs her. She's not sure what reaction she's going to get, but when she gets the hug from him, I guess she knows what it is. And Carissa's standing there crying. So that's where we left them, right? Then we cut back over to Bishop. Bishop is in his office, right? He's rubbing his shoulder. Again, they showing us that he's starting to have some more symptoms of his disease. And who come walking up in the door is Basie with a gun. And they have a standoff, Of course, Basie said, oh man, he said, I'm getting ready to do what God doesn't have the courage to do. He said, I don't know what it is about you. I don't know why you keep getting out of this mess. He said, but I'm just going to go ahead and end it. I'm not going to keep doing this back and forth. I just wanted you to pay for what you did to my father, and you done got out of that. I laid the perfect trap for you, and you got out of that. And, Bishop is like, son, I'm not your son. He said, look, don't do this. Don't do this. He said, if you kill me, he said, then you putting 2 more bodies on my soul, because I will have ruined your life. And then you're going to sit in jail for the rest of your life. And he said, you don't want that. Here go Basie. Oh, I'm not going to get caught. He said, no, I'm not going to jail. And Bishop is trying to talk Basie down. Basie ain't hearing it. He's like, look, I'm going to do this. Now, here's my thing. Don't get me wrong. I don't want the bishop to die. But my thing is this, if you're going to do it, do it. All this talking, you know, they sat there, shit, this scene went on for about 4 or 5 minutes. If you're going to kill him, kill him. All this talking, oh, you giving people time to come in. You giving him time to come up with a plan. Just do it. But, you know, he's trying to talk him down. He's trying to talk him down. And Basie's crying. He talking about something, you killed my father. I just want you to pay. He said, I didn't mean to. He was like, oh, so the truth is coming out now. Now all of a sudden you didn't mean to. He said, it's too late. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. So they do this back and forth. And the whole time he's got the gun on Bishop. And so finally, you know, not Jacob. Basie, Lord, I couldn't get it out. Excuse me. So they, like I said, they go back and forth for a minute. Now, while all of this is going on, we keep flipping back and forth. We keep flipping to Gigi and old boy with the test results. We flipping to Lady Mae preaching. We flipping to Carissa and Jacob arguing. Like it's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Finally, we end up with Bishop and Basie again. And Bishop almost talked Basie down. You know, he's walking up on him. Basie said, don't come any closer. And he take a step. He said, don't come any closer. He take a step. And he almost, you saw him basically kind of lowering the gun a little bit. And Bishop, he thought he had kind of got through to him enough. Then next thing you know, Basie picks that gun up again. He puts it to his head. He said, oh, man. He said, if you are who you think you are, then say hi to God. But if you who I think you are, you about to burn like my daddy. And that's where it ended. I said, what the fuck? Like, literally, I sat here like, that's where it ended. Honey, this daggone Greenleaf ain't nothing but the truth. You know, next week is the season finale, so we're going to see how this roll. We're going to see how this roll. All right, y'all. It's late, but I had to bring this to y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.